What's up, everyone? I hope everyone is well. On this episode, we are going to go over the things we like and the things we don't like about this 2021 Nissan Titan. Um, we've owned it for about 6 months, and I'd say there's some things we love about it and some things we don't love about it. Let's get into it. So, one of the first things we're going to go over is the look. This truck is absolutely, undeniably beautiful. Honestly, it's the most beautiful truck I've ever seen in my life, and I own it. Between the look itself, the color, the rooftop tent in the back with the rack, it all just comes together and just makes this spaceship adventure mobile. Like, I don't even know the words to put it into, but this truck is beautiful. Between the headlights are gorgeous. I love the LED lighting that goes, around the headlight, all the black everywhere, all the black accents, like the bumper down here, the grill, the red hooks that accent it. This thing is just gorgeous. And so, talking about how beautiful and gorgeous this truck is, that's one of the things I actually almost don't like about it. Um, it's almost too nice. My other Titan, my first gen Titan, it wasn't as nice, and so you treated it as such. But this truck, it's almost too nice. Back in the day, I used to detail cars in Windermere, Florida, and I used to do a lot of high-end cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, BMWs, Mercedes. I also did Hondas and stuff. You could really feel the difference in the cars when you would wash them and wax them, and dry them. You could just feel that the higher end cars were built nicer. It just, everything felt nicer. If you were to take a 2003 Hyundai and go to wax, say, the back quarter panel, if you press too hard, the body might actually flex a little bit, whereas you go to wax a Ferrari or a Mercedes, it's solid. This truck puts out those vibes. It has expensive energy. When you clean it and you get it real nice, this thing is almost too nice. Like, it needs to just be in a garage. It needs to be in a showroom, always shined up, looking beautiful. It doesn't need to be going off-roading through the mountains, through mud, all that stuff. But obviously, because it's a Pro 4X, that is what it's built for. And so, that can be just a small downside, is just how nice this truck really is. All right. So another thing I really like about this truck is the seats. These seats are the most comfortable seats in the world. My older Titan was the same way. I don't know if this has the same technology, but Nissan made its own zero gravity seat technology that's supposed to, make you weightless, or I don't know. You got to Google it. Nissan zero gravity seats. Basically, when you sit in these seats, you don't feel it. You can go on the longest ride, hours on end. Your butt will never hurt. I drove this truck from North Carolina, a 2 day drive, almost nonstop. Obviously, I stayed at a hotel. That entire drive from North Carolina to Colorado, I never once felt uncomfortable. I sat in this chair for probably, at times, hours on, 2 3 hours at a time, and then throughout a whole day I sat in this chair for about 14 hours one day, and I still wasn't sore. So, that's this truck is perfect for long hauls, towing things, just being a truck and being comfortable. This truck is amazing at it. I love these seats. So the next thing I really like about this truck is the black headliner. Now, this is something that isn't necessarily specific to this Nissan Titan itself, but a lot of the auto manufacturers are doing this now, where if you have black interior, they are now giving you a black headliner and black pillars. Whereas every other vehicle I have ever owned, if I had black leather, black interior, black carpet, black dash, I still had a gray pillar and a gray roof. And it seems like every vehicle was like that. My lady's 2018 CRV, all black interior, headliner, and pillars are gray. I don't know why they did that. I don't like it, but I love this. Thank you, Nissan. So, another thing I really like about this truck, it moves. Just like my older Titan, you hit the gas, this thing moves. To put that into perspective, I've driven trucks that have low horsepower V8s or V6s, and it seems like there's not enough motor to move the weight of the truck. Does what it needs to do, but at the end of the day, if you were to try to get out of somebody's way or something, it's just a little harder because the truck just don't get up and go. And just like my older Titan, I used to tell people when they asked me what it was like driving a Titan, I said it was like driving a lifted Corvette. I don't see any difference. If that light turns green and you stomp on that gas, that truck is going somewhere. And this truck, no different. Just the transmission's a little different, so it feels different. But with the 400 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque, this thing moves. And honestly, I get why people get horrible gas mileage, because they just want to hit the gas all the time and do what this truck does. But me, I like to baby it. I like to drive it like a grandpa. My father taught me, you treat it nice, it'll treat you nice. You take care of it, it'll take care of you. And so that's kind of what I live by. That's also why we own the Raptor 700. We have a Raptor so that we can beat on that. We can do whatever, and it's not our daily get to work, get everything done vehicle. So yeah, this truck, it moves. All right. And so moving right along, another thing I like about this truck is all the safety features. If you're going through a parking lot or something and someone pulls out in front of you real quick and you don't catch it, this truck will stop itself. Whether you're going forward, backward, I believe if you're going down the road at about 20 miles an hour and someone pulls out in front of you, this truck will do everything in its power to stop itself before you hit that vehicle. The cruise control isn't really as advanced as some of the newer vehicles, but it still has some features. My 2011 Titan, you put it in cruise control and it did it. But this, you can set the distances, so if you're in cruise control and someone happens to slow down in front of you and you're not, you don't catch it right away, you're not going to run into the back of them. This truck will slow itself down. I used that feature pretty much all the way from North Carolina to Colorado. I had it in cruise control about 95% of the time. And every time, someone would pull out from behind a semi truck or whatever, and they would hop in my lane, my truck would slow itself down until they got out of the way. And then the only thing I don't like about that though is it kills your gas mileage, because it'll read that vehicle, it'll slow down, and then when that car gets over, your truck will give it way too much gas. I think, me personally, I would just touch the gas and start going again. This truck, now that you've slowed 20, 15 miles an hour, now it wants to get back up to that speed, it'll start hauling butt. And so that'll definitely kill your gas mileage on a long haul when it comes to that cruise control feature. But nonetheless, it is great, and I really like it. So those are going to be the top things that I like about this truck. And so I'm sure you all have been waiting to see what I don't like. So let's go ahead and hop into the things I don't like about the truck. And so one of the things that we're going to start with is the transmission. I do not like the transmission on this truck. It is not very nice. Compared to my older Titan was a 5-speed. This truck is a 9-speed, and there's a lot of complaints on the web about it. And I can see why. It tends to trip over itself. There's times where it doesn't really know what gear to get into. And I can give you a couple examples of that. Say you were to pull out of a drive and you have to cross 2 lanes of traffic to then get into a middle lane, so that then you can hop into where you're going. If you touch the gas in this truck to kind of creep out, and then you happen to see another vehicle come into the equation, and so you let off the gas to assess the situation, see what they're going to do, and then you notice that said car either is going really slow or they made a quick right somewhere, and so now you're hitting the gas again to fully go into crossing those lanes. My older Titan would, when you let off the gas and then hit the gas again, it kind of knew what you were doing, and it would shift into second gear. And so when you hit that gas again, the truck would just start going, and it would go where you wanted it to go, how you wanted it to do it. This truck will stay in first gear when you let off the gas, and then when you press the gas again, it's still holding that RPM. So now you hit the gas and you get that jerky, and then so depending on how much you hit the gas now is whether or not it's even going to shift into second or not. And so that is probably one of the biggest flaws of this truck is the transmission. So another thing that I'm starting to not like about this truck is the reflection of the dash on the windshield. I've had a good amount of vehicles in my day. This is the first truck that when the sun is hitting you from a certain direction, you could just see the dash clear as day in the windshield. And where I saw that really started to cause a problem was there was a car in front of me and I could not read his license plate. In a situation where I was close enough, good lighting, I should have been able to read his license plate, but all I could see was the grain of the leather on my dash. I can see the vehicle, I can see the lines on the trees, everything I need to see. But it definitely obstructs your view, and I don't like it. Something I've noticed is if I use a leather conditioner that doesn't leave as such a shine, it definitely helps because the shinier the dash is, the more it reflects. So if you tend to use a softer leather conditioner, it tends to help a little bit, but still seems to be an issue. And so going along with the windshield and the dash, another little gripe I have is the size of the windshield in general. It seems like my other Titan, the body sat up a little taller. This truck is obviously a little more sleek. Maybe it gives it better gas mileage. Definitely changes the look, but with doing so, it makes the windshield smaller, and you notice it. My 2011 Titan had a very big windshield, very big passenger windows. It was almost perfect for going off road and seeing everything. Whereas this truck, windshield's a lot smaller, seems more slanted. There's just a lot less visibility looking through the windshield. Unfortunately, in this shot, my microphone wasn't working. Not really sure what happened. Either way, though, I get into how I really don't like the automatic wipers too much. They are one of those things where you can't live with them, you can't live without them. Let me explain. When you're driving down the road and it's pouring down rain and then it kind of rains a little less, the flow of the rain is changing. Your wipers sense that, so they'll speed up, they'll slow down, they'll do whatever they got to do. And that's very convenient because then you don't really have to pay attention to your wipers too much. So that's one of those things you can't live without. The part you can't live with is the fact that the wiper sensors don't pick up single drops or mist. So if you're just getting random drops of rain all over your windshield, your sensors aren't going to pick that up. You're going to have to manually, move your wiper. If you're going down a road where it just poured and the roads are soaked, everybody's tires are throwing up the water, and your windshield is completely covered in mist and you can't see nothing, your sensors don't see that either. So there's actually a little spot on the wiper stock that you twist it backwards and it says mist, and that is for when you have mist on the windshield, because it knows that the sensors do not pick that up, which is, I don't know, that's kind of odd to me. There is, however, further past the automatic settings, there is two settings, low and high, which you can manually put it into. And that definitely works. It's just the low is a little too fast and the high is way too fast. Can go into the settings and you can turn the automatic wipers off altogether, but why would you do that? It's really convenient when it's actually raining. So yeah, just one of the things I don't really like too much. And so just something really small that I didn't really think needed to be on the main list of things, but definitely is something, is I wasn't able to get cooled seats. I got heated leather seats, heated steering wheel, but I was not able to get cooled seats. Now, that is an option. You can get the cooled seats, but you have to get the panoramic sunroof also. And me personally, I did not want a panoramic sunroof. They have a long list of problems. It can cost you a lot of money in the long run. And so I just really wanted to avoid that. And I wanted a solid roof. Also, when it hails, things fall in your vehicle. It's a lot harder for things to go through a metal roof than it is a glass sunroof. And so, if you want the cooled seats with these trucks, you have to get the sunroof also. You could not separate the two and get one or the other. So, that's definitely something I'm a little disappointed in. Another thing is it does not have wireless phone charging. My buddy had a 21, 22 Dodge Ram fully loaded, and it had the wireless phone charging. It does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all that good stuff, but it does not have wireless charging. So I kind of wish it had that. And one of the things that I thought was pretty cool about the truck that I didn't include on the list is the amount of cup holders. If you count just the cup holders inside the truck, it has 14 of them, which means that each person could have, it only seats 5 people, so each person could have 2 drinks, and you still, the numbers don't, if you count all the cup holders on the truck in general, there's 4 more on the tailgate, so that's 18 cup holders that this truck has. Pretty nuts. Good job, Nissan, with the cup holders.